Hello, this video will demonstrate how to use Griddrawingtool.com, which is an online app that you can use to superimpose grids on top of photos that you upload. We're going to be following the steps that are listed along the top of the screen here, and we're going to hit start by either hitting the get started by either clicking the start text at the top or the start button. They both do the same thing. Now, step one is uploading the photo. Before you upload the photo, read the warning message. It says files must be JPG or PNG files. So those are two common types of photo files. So you can find that information at the very end of the file name that you're going to be uploading. You'll see a dot followed by 3 letters, unless you're using Apple, which has 4 letters. If you use Apple products, you won't be able to upload that photo that it creates because an iPhone, for example, creates HEIC files, which are not compatible with griddrawingtool.com. Additionally, make sure that your photo, it says it must be less than 4 megabytes, but in testing with students, I found that it actually needs to be less than 3 megabytes. This video will not cover how to compress or reduce the file size of a photo, but you can look online to find that information rather easily. So you do need your photo to be a JPG or PNG file, and you do need it to be actually 3 megabytes or smaller. Okay, so I'm going to go to choose file, and I'm going to be working with one of these photos that I've taken of myself, and let's go with something a little unusual. Okay. All right, so I'm going to be gridding this photo, and next we're going to go to step 2, which is rotate. So you usually the photo will upload the correct orientation, whatever orientation it's saved at on your device. Um, but if you do need to rotate it, you can rotate it left or right. Uh, the boxes, when it creates the grid, it starts at the bottom of the photo. Now, in this case, this is just my sweater, so that's not the most important information. More important information is up at the top. So I could choose to rotate this photo upside down to make sure that the boxes closer to my face are square and not cut off, because it'll put as many boxes in here as evenly as possible, but then it will cut some off um, at the top. Okay. So that might be something to be aware of, but we're just going to continue in the correct orientation here, facing upward. We're going to move on to step 3, which is cropping. So the crop tool is a way of cutting information that you don't need. So for example, since we're going to be drawing the face, we want to get as close to the face as possible. Okay. It doesn't give you a size. It doesn't constrain the size so that it'll fit a piece of paper. So you can't. So that's it does allow you to make the box as big as you want to, but it might not measure out perfectly with your piece of paper. So just be aware of that. So I'm going to cut off some of this extra space that's around my face. And this looks like about the size of a piece of paper, so I'm going to go ahead and hit crop image. If you hit the next button, it will not crop it. You have to hit the crop image button. So now that I've cropped out the empty space, I'm ready to continue on to step 4, which is adjust. Now the brightness and contrast controls are not very good in this app. You probably have better controls of brightness and contrast in a different application or photo editing software. The saturation works, and we need to do that because we're going to be drawing this in black and white, primarily black and white. And so we're going to subtract some of the saturation until it's black and white. Now you just have to kind of eyeball it and look, and you'll be able to tell when it turns black and white. Here you can still see a little bit of a pinkish hue in my face. So if I click one more time, this looks pretty black and white to me. Now, you can't just keep clicking it because it will start to go the opposite way. So it's making my face green instead of pinkish red. So it's replacing one color with the color complement, the opposite color. So um, you can't just keep clicking it until it goes past black and white, or you can't just keep clicking it over and over again without checking to make sure it is black and white. Now you can download this photo so that you have a black and white version of your photo that's black and white, so you don't have to go through these steps again in case something goes wrong or you want to use that photo for something else. Um, And once you're done removing the color, desaturating the image, we're going to go to step 5, which is the grid. So this is the most important step. And the number of boxes you're going to have depends on the size of paper you're going to be working with. So if you are working on a sheet of paper that is a 9 by 12 sheet of drawing paper, then you're going to want 6 boxes across. You can only set the number of boxes across the width. Um, you can't set the number of boxes for the height. And you can see that a little bit of the box at the top is getting cut off. So if I don't like that, remember I can go back to step 2 and I can turn this photo upside down because you can see the box at the bottom is perfect. So I'd prefer that it was cutting off, the box was getting cut off down here where there's just some less important information, which is not part of my face. But if I do go back now, it's going to delete or reset everything that I've done. So I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to go ahead, proceed with that little bit cut off at the top. Fortunately, it's only cutting off just, it only has a little bit of wisp of hair in that row there. So if you're doing a 9 by 12 sheet of paper, you're going to want 6 boxes, excuse me, 6 boxes, yes, width, because there's 2 numbers that go into 9 and 12 evenly, and one of them is 3. But if we only had 3 boxes, 3-inch boxes on a piece of paper that's 9 by 12, then we'd only have 3 boxes on the across the top, and that would be too big. There would be too much information in those boxes to copy. So 1.5 inches goes into both 9 and 12. And if you divide 9 by 1.5, you get 6. And if you divide 12 by 1.5, you get 8. So we need 6 boxes across, and we'll see if we get 8 boxes for the height. So I've set it to 6. I'm going to hit apply grid. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes across. And it made, let's see how many boxes it made going down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Um, so in this case, there wouldn't be enough boxes on my piece of paper if I did it this way, so I would have to turn this photo upside down so that it's losing a little bit of the sweater and not this row of my hair. Okay, um, so that's something to be aware of. But you do need 6 boxes across and 8 boxes down because that's how many you'll be able to fit on a 9 by 12 sheet of paper. If you're using a 12 by 18 sheet of paper, you also have 2 options. You could use 3-inch boxes, but again, you'd run into a problem where you only have 4 boxes across and 6 boxes up. 4 boxes would be too large, so 12 divided by 3 would be 4, and 18 divided by 3 would be 6. So you would want your boxes on your drawing paper to be 2 inches wide. So 12 divided by 2 is 6, and 18 divided by 2 is 9. So you should have 6 boxes across and 9 boxes up. So if I was using a 12 by 18 sheet of paper, I could use this photo the way it is because I could fit that many boxes on a 12 by 18 sheet of paper. So make sure that you are using the correct number of boxes for whatever size paper you're using. Again, 9 by 12 requires 6 boxes across, and 12 by 18 also requires 6 boxes across, but you need 9 boxes for 12 by 18, 9 boxes tall, and you need 8 boxes tall for 9 by 12. All right. Now you can also change the color of the grid lines, and you can change how thick they are. If you make them very thick, it's going to cover up some of the information. Okay. Um, but this is easy to see. And if you're working with a very dark picture and a dark background, you might want the lines to be white instead of black. But in this case, my background is light and my skin is fairly light, so using black lines will be fine. Okay, so once you have your photo gridded, you'll hit download and it'll save that to your download folder on your device. Okay. So I hope this has been helpful. You've now learned how to superimpose a grid onto a photo using Griddrawingtool, and we can now use that photo, gridded photo, to draw from on our drawing paper. Okay, so if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for listening.